Okay, so when we close our eyes and we think about one of the good things, one of the great things that happened to us within the last week, we relive it for a moment, and that process is called savoring. And in the positive psychology research, that allows us to anchor into our emotional field, our bodies, and also create new strengthened neural pathways to the reality or the truth that there are really quite great things happening in our lives for us and to us. And the more that we can remind ourselves of that, the more we actually add a little fuel or a little pep in our step when we're feeling a little more down or discouraged. And so maybe you want to put a post-it note around your house that says savor. Maybe you actually want to create a JPEG and upload it into your personal collection or your private collection of Positive Prime that says savor. And maybe it's a nice reminder. You could have multiple copies of that particular word on a beautiful background. There are lots of apps that allow you to do that. I'm sure that most of you have heard of Canva. You can actually just export a PowerPoint slide as a JPEG. There's lots of options for you. We actually have a concierge service. I'm not sure that you know that at Positive Prime. We charge you rather handsomely if you want us to create some artwork for you. So maybe you've got a really important goal, and that goal is, I want to be looking fabulous and feeling fit. So we might have looking fabulous and feeling fit. We might have on or before March 2023. Well, if you don't know how to use some of these graphics software programs and you want us to create that JPEG for you, send it to you as an attachment. You can upload it as a personal addition into your private collection, then just ask us to do that. We have an hourly rate, and we have lots of graphic designers, because I'm pretty sure that you all have started to understand that we create Positive Prime sessions. That's one of the things that we do. We actually have a division that creates Positive Prime sessions for all sorts of teachers and trainers and therapists and keynote speakers and authors. And that's one of the things we do. So welcome. This is your chance. Anybody got me a question? Anybody have a question for me? Anybody have a curiosity? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this is your 20 to 30 minutes once a week where you get to ask me a question about something that you're facing, a challenge, an obstacle, an opportunity. And let's see what I download, either from your angels or my angels somewhere. Maybe it's just the brilliance that my higher self knows. So tell me, what is it that you want the answer to? One of you has to be brave enough to come on out.
Well, you leave a microphone open around me. I waited. I was nice. I gave everybody a chance. Okay, so here's my question. And so I'll take a download or whatever shows up. I'm torn between do something towards getting my work out into the world, the conscious transformational coaching work, and having people come to the class and the 3-day event and all of those things that are wonderful that are coming up, and rest and allow. And they seem to be two totally different things that I cannot do both at the same time. At least that's the way it feels. So what am I supposed to do? Or not?
I love that. All righty. So intuitive hits, answers, solutions that come to us when we're in the shower, when we're walking along the beach, when we're moving our bodies. And so here's the first thing that I would say. If you can, and it's appropriate, and you don't have any mobility issues, and you're in North America, so it's now pleasant weather, not blizzards. Well, unless of course you're Shelley in Alaska when it, Shelley, is it blizzards in Alaska? No. Okay, so you've got nice weather. All right, so I would go for a walk, right? What I have noticed is that if I take a break, inspired actions come to me as ideas. And if anybody here is involved in the quantum physics world or the law of attraction world, or in anything that's esoteric and or spiritual, I think you will have heard this, and so you do know this in your cells. And I love that you asked the question, Jackie, because it actually is of great benefit to everybody else listening. There is an action that you can take that gives you a reaction that could be 10x or 100x. And that action that you take that's inspired can only come through as the best right action to take after you've paused. The idea will come to you in the moments of silence. Now, that doesn't mean, and I, Jackie, have gotten to know you like lots of other people in this community, like me, we're ambitious action takers, we're go-getters, we're movers and shakers. We actually create impact on the planet. We inspire others, we lead, we motivate teams, we manage people. And so guess what? We are always in the need of taking even more action. It never lets up for us, right? Ever. And so grace and the ability to take even more powerful, inspired actions must be generated from a moment of pause. There's your answer. You could take 1,000 actions that aren't infused with divine energy, or you could take 10 much more influential actions that are infused by divine energy if you give yourself a chance. You actually have to create that space though. There has to be this equilibrium and this harmony, because that divine energy is looking for the path of least resistance into you and through you. So if you're all like uptight, which is often how we are, it can't flow. It can't move. Right, so when I am really in my head and I'm taking lots of action, I actually force myself these days to go and take a gentle walk. It's bizarre because as I'm walking, I've got these otherwise known as self-fulfilling prophecies, mantras, incantations, affirmations, positive prime session statements flowing through. And I'll actually just be in this very present, mindful, but away with the fairies space. And I'm noticing how stunning the spectacular blue sky is. And bang, what drops in is an answer. Back at my desk, I take immediate action on that. And it's infused with that divine energy. You know, I used to look at the President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama when they were in office. And I'm an Aussie on the other side of the world, so I'm only observing and I'm not actually really impacted. Well, that's actually not the truth. I am impacted by their policies because the whole world is. I used to wonder how on earth somebody who has that much to do and travels that much can sustain the level of energy and commitment that is necessary in that office. They've learned the art of an hour of power, as Tony Robbins calls it, or they've learned that they can't sacrifice their exercise, they can't sacrifice good quality sleep, they can't sacrifice those healthy habits that often in the physical healing sciences, we call them hygiene habits. It's a bit like make sure your body is cool and you'll have a better quality sleep. Right, so there are a lot of habits that we can instill that bring about healthy hygiene. It's like you can't possibly be doing all of this work, Jackie, without you being well hydrated. So if all you do is leave your space, go out and get a water, I actually often see you drinking water, so I'm pretty sure you've got the hydration thing down. Your brain needs water. Your brain definitely needs water. There's a lot of electrical work going on there in your brain. Alrighty, so For those of you who are new to Positive Prime, tell me, are you new to Positive Prime? Hands up. Anybody got any actual technical questions about Positive Prime? Because I don't want to miss those if necessary, but I can at least guide you where there are some really good quality answers. Jackie, did that help? It did. Excellent. Did it help anybody else? Are you happy you showed up to listen to that? You are.
I am.
Okay. Yeah, go, Susan. Is it Susan?
Actually, it's Sharon.
Sharon.
Susan is my twin sister, which I know you talked to.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Interesting. It's along those lines as of what you were just telling Jackie, because I have so many commitments, and it's hard to stop long enough to not try and get through so many in a day. And I almost expect more to get done in a day than really is reasonable. Because I have just so many things on my plate. So I like of what you just said about the just stopping and taking a walk. I guess my hope is, from what you just said, is that will allow me to maybe order the things that I need to do and only have the things that need to get done. But it's hard to let that happen, because I'm an action taker, I'm a planner, and to let things fall the way divinely they should is hard.
It is. Sharon, do you know what? But may I ask you to do something and replace the word hard? Now you're going to be really hyper focused on when you say hard, you're going to catch yourself. You're going to start to notice. Yeah. I want you to say this is easy. All righty. If there's nothing else you came for today, it was to learn that if we set an intention, an energy in motion, that something is going to be easy or easier. I actually like the word easier because it presupposes it's easy, right? So I say it is just becoming easier. It presupposes it's already easy. I think that that's actually a little bit more powerful. And I did that just 1 millisecond ago. I walked up. You don't have to go for a very long walk. Mine's 500 meters to my letterbox and back again. It's a couple of minutes. It just gets easier and easier. I actually said that to myself 100 times. I was inspired by somebody who just spoke a little bit earlier in another meeting I was in. It just gets easier and easier. It just gets easier and easier. And I was having a little giggle to myself. And, you know, life has actually gotten easier and easier. It has. And so what happens is that our brains go in search of evidence to support that belief. And that's how it becomes self-fulfilling. Our brains will do everything in their power. And I kind of think there's a collective brain, so I use there as in THEIR, right? In our power to go and answer these questions in a very elegant way. You may have heard me, or you will hear me say, ask your mind very good quality questions in the positive. There is a man, Noah St. John, who actually does a lot of this kind of work in something called affirmations. I first learned about it from Anthony Robbins 25 years ago. I'm pretty sure that's where Noah learned it as well. Noah, of course, came up with his own brand for the process, but the process is asking yourself awesome questions. So the common one is, how does it get any better than this? Which presupposes that it's already pretty good. I've actually also just been asked, any tips on detachment after you set your goals in the universe? Okay, so this is also this power of pause. I don't know if all of you have noticed, by the way, that there is a Positive Prime session on the dashboard right now, and it is about pause from one of our great people who is an executive coach with the International Coaching Federation. Her name's Laura Scott, and there's actually a session on the power of pause. So maybe you want to go and watch that as well. You could use Positive Prime as a pause. I do want to give you some other ideas just in case mobility is an issue or weather's an issue, and you basically give yourself the excuse that you can't go for a walk and that's why you can't take a break. You could turn some music on. You could dance around your living room or around your kitchen, right? Anything that gets your body in movement kind of sometimes gets us unstuck. The interesting thing is that you've heard this all before. The tighter you hold on to something, the more you squeeze the opportunity out of it. You've heard that, haven't you? It's the same with the goals that you set. When you are very busy doing something else that's really meaningful and significant, and I will actually say something else that's meaningful and significant, then you can actually release this hold that you have on the other subject that you're working on. It's a classic example. In lots of instances, we've had people who are desperately doing everything they possibly can to attract their soulmate. But once they dive into really deep and meaningful work that they're doing, the soulmate miraculously appears. Now, it wasn't that they didn't get really clear on what it was that was their goal, which was creating a very healthy romantic relationship where there was genuine intimacy with somebody they really connected to and they wanted to create a life with, right? So they got clear on their goal, but they got busy doing some other things. It's like you go out to a social function and that phone call that you were waiting for. I'm sure this all happened to us 30 years ago before voicemail. And voila, they phoned while you were out. Right? Because you let go. Letting go and letting God is one of the greatest lessons we can all learn. And reminding ourselves of that as well. Letting go and letting God. We have Nadine here with us today, and she has an amazingly beautiful session. Her session is actually, for me, it's a gentle reminder. And so often when I'm stuck in my head, I can't get the right answers. I need to drop into my heart in order to have that divine flow through me. And that's where very clever solutions occur to me. They're actually heart bred, right? And so there is one process I would say. Let's hear from Nadine. But before we do, Sharon, I often revisit what it is that I think that I've got to do in a day. Anthony Robbins also taught this 25 plus years ago. Decide to do that which is important, which has the greatest impact on the long term, medium term, and short term, and don't do the things that you don't think are going to actually be very significant and meaningful in the long term, medium term, and short term. And notice how I go out to the long term first. So much stuff has fallen off my to-do list over the years. It's completely unnecessary because ultimately it wasn't going to matter. If I thought about what's important rather than what's urgent, and I thought about and what's the impact of this long term, I'll let it go much more easily. All right. Some of the stuff that we get caught up in, you've heard that. Think about yourself in a year's time, and if what you're worrying about right now is worth it, continue worrying about it. If not, drop it. Let it go. Give it to somebody else. Run away from it, right? Remove yourself from its energy. Okay, there you go. Nadine, what do you have to add to all of this?
Well, Kim, thanks for letting me speak. About the word pause, right? Because one of the things that I just want to talk about for a moment is your energy field. So all of us have an energy field. And when we're relaxed and we're not stressing about things, our energy field expands. I call it spiritual real estate. We have all this spiritual real estate out here. And when things are coming at us, when it hits our energy field, we have time to discern whether it's important, whether we want to get caught up in it, or whether we don't want to get caught up in it. But when we're stressed and we're really, what am I going to do? It's like our spiritual real estate, it's like shrink wrap. And when stuff comes at us, it's like, we don't have any time. It's like, and it goes in and we think it's us, and half of the stuff coming at us isn't even ours. So, it's really important to take that pause. And even if you just take 5 minutes to do some heart breathing, and heart breathing is really easy. All you do is focus on your heart and breathe into your heart. Or you go for that walk. As you move your body, you actually process quicker because it takes your movement in your body actually helps you to process. So all of those things, I just thought I'd add my little thing to it. And as for what's important, you need to go to your heart, because your head has a different agenda, and your heart never lies. Your heart never forces you to do anything. Your heart only gives you the right answers. And so if you literally go, your intuition resides in your heart. And so, you know, even if you just drop down into your heart, do some heart breathing, and then ask a question, and then just wait. Or if you don't know how to do that and that's difficult, then just ask a yes or no question. And what does your heart say, yes or no? Anyhow, that's my 2 cents.
Oh, I love that, Nadine. Thank you. Beautiful 2 cents. And for those of you who are wondering, this is, I'm screen sharing Nadine's session, Heart Consciousness. There is a genius in our heart, isn't there? Let's drop into our heart consciousness whenever we can. One of the things that you just said there that was absolutely incredibly brilliant, right? I'm just going to mute the music for a second. And I might go full screen for all of us and a little faster. The faster we go, the better. Just let go, surrender. Don't be attached to the words. Allow them to flow through you, over you, around you, upside down, inside out. In pre-conscious processing, you do actually get all of the messages. It takes a lot of faith, all right? But you can have faith in our actual formula. You can have faith in the way that the software works. You can have faith in knowing that we've scientifically proven this is absolutely fabulous for your brain in terms of putting your brain in a state of flow. Nadine, what is heart breathing for those who don't know what heart breathing is?
You're muted, Nadine. We can't hear you.
Thanks, Jackie. Okay, so you take a breath in through your nose, and you can breathe out through your nose or out through your mouth, but your focus is on your heart. And if you really want to, if you're not used to doing that, you can put your hands on your heart while you're doing it, and just breathe into your heart and just breathe out of your heart, and just focus on your heart and breathe in and breathe out as you focus on your heart, and focus on the love and the compassion and the joy in your heart, and just breathe in and breathe out as you focus on your heart. And you can just do that as a simple meditation on its own, and you don't have to do it for very long before you start to actually feel calmer and more relaxed. And the more calm and relaxed you are, the more you can tune into your intuition.
Love that. I have never heard it referred to as spiritual real estate, and I have never heard that what it does do is it creates space that allows something that's hitting your energy field time for you to process it and be comfortable with it before you react, so that you're actually in a graceful, responsive state rather than a reactionary, less than helpful state. That's beautiful. And there's lots of nice thank yous, Nadine, from people in the chat. I would say that was a pretty awesome 30 minutes. Our intention is to be of service to you. We love you here at Positive Prime. We want you to positively prime yourself a lot more. We want you to watch much more sessions. We want you to upload photographs so that you can actually, and here's the fascinating thing. For those of you who don't know, Zadie, I will say this, if you have uploaded photographs, lots of photographs that represent what it is that is truly inspiring you about the goals that you're setting, then when you watch a positive prime session and you see those photographs flashing, because those images are being presented to you whilst you're in a state that we call positively primed, whilst you're in this beingness that is in flow, there is something remarkable that has happened. Your hopes, wishes, goals, dreams, desires, that which is on your wish list or your bucket list, those images, they're actually planted in what we call the space that's the gap, where you, because they're going so fast past you, you can't hold on to them. You see them and then something else is shown to you. You see it and then something else is shown to you. So the positive prime process of viewing a session actually causes you to be in non-attachment. It gives you access to that. It's the easiest way for me to describe it. And then let me very quickly show you where you can find out a little bit more about this. So we're back to watching this session. Alrighty, so we will X out of here from full screen. If I just go and click on dashboard, it's going to exit me out of the session. If you go here to free resources, it's going to open up a page for you in a separate tab, okay? And then once this loads, I'll actually guide you down here. It's actually called Manifesting in the Gap, right? And it's actually also talking about how your mind is like an iceberg. You might want to go and watch these two very short videos. So you get to them, you log in, you go to free resources. Once you're in free resources, you go down here. If you want to see a full presentation about how and why this actually works, and you want to actually dive in, you can go and watch these two workshops. They should be able to help you a little more. All righty. Thank you, Edwina, for saying you learn something new every time you attend these sessions on Monday, and they're only going to get better. That's the truth. Every week, as you know, we have somebody who comes and shares something with me. So thank you, Nadine, for being here today. Love you all, and I will see you next week. Mwah. Bye.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.